Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the R-Rated Show. I'm your host, Josh James, here to talk to you about, of course, the Rise of Skywalker trailer that just dropped. The final trailer, 2 months out from the release of the movie. And, I was watching last night at work on my laptop right when it dropped. There was an explosion of reaction videos and live streams. And it's all the talk right now. And I'm just going to jump on the fucking bandwagon because I was born in 77. I like to say I was born under the sign of Star Wars. I was baptized in it. It's been part of my life, my whole life. And I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I loved it. It was my mythology. And the original trilogy was really important to me. Of course, I grew up sitting in my dad's lap, him reading Star Wars books to me. And seeing Return of the Jedi in the theater and watching all the movies on TV. And, I was that kid just like you. Star Wars was very important to me and shaped a lot of the themes and the morality themes that I grew up with. I did a lot of thinking about Star Wars when I was dealing with my own issues with my father, yada, yada, yada. You know what I mean? Like, it was an important part of my life. And when Disney picked up the mantle to take Star Wars into modern day, considering that the prequels were very disappointing to a lot of hardcore Star Wars fans, we were all very hopeful that Star Wars, through Disney's creative teams, would be the Star Wars that we all hoped it would be. And from the very moment I saw The Force Awakens, I knew that idea was shattered and that they were going to ruin this. Well, at least I had an inkling that something was not right, and I really hated The Force Awakens, and it was just not good. And I didn't buy into the hype after the movie. I was definitely into the hype before the movie. Had the t-shirt, bought a poster, bought toys. Got goosebumps during the awesome trailer that they released. I was really excited for more great Star Wars stories. And we didn't get it. And then I thought, well, maybe we'll expand on and do some more interesting things in The Last Jedi, and it'll be great. And, they kind of got over that big hurdle of getting that first movie out. And now that they got more freedom and feel like the fans are on board, then they'll expand on it and do some more interesting shit. Then he brought Rian Johnson on board. Completely train-wrecked it. Awful, terrible. Just mind-numbingly dumb, some of the stuff they've done with the characters that we love. And it's, specifically Luke Skywalker. Like, holy shit, I feel so bad for Mark Hamill. They ruined his legacy. He hates it. And he's just, too nice of a guy and too loyal, I guess, to completely shit on it. But, you can tell there are a lot of things he said. He just really does not agree with what they've done. We all know all this stuff. So going into this movie, I'm like, why is this movie even important to me? And honestly, there's a big part of me that feels like Star Wars is dead to me. I mean, I guess I can always go back and love the original movies, but there used to be like a sense of like familiarity and nostalgia and happiness and joy and fervor when I heard somebody mention the name Star Wars. Now when someone says Star Wars, I'm like, ugh, Star Wars. It's really fucking sad that I have this negative reaction to hearing about Star Wars. I don't want to fucking hear about more shitty Star Wars stuff. It's exhausting. It's tiresome. But here we are on the cusp of the final movie for Disney's Star Wars sequel trilogy. And man, this franchise is really fucked, man. They really have lost their way. Really, really bad choices, and it's suffering pretty bad. 2 bad movies, really bad movies, and a theme park that no one gives a shit about. And they've alienated a lot of people, and I think people are just coming back to see what the hell this movie is going to be all about. I watched the trailer, and honestly, I really feel like it's just more glossy J.J. Abrams Disney Star Wars shit. I think that they're bringing back Palpatine from the grave, resurrecting his character, is just sheer desperation by Disney Lucasfilm to somehow appease the fans and tie everything together. Try to say that Palpatine was pulling all these puppet strings. That Snoke was like one of the worst villains they ever created. I mean, they set him up like maybe he might do something interesting, but he's just a big blob of silly putty as far as I'm concerned, like a fucking no-show, awful. Rian Johnson's such a fucking moron when it comes to that, honestly. I mean, look, I don't like to shit on other creatives, but he really made some selfish decisions, some serious buffoonery, delusions of grandeur, if you will. I mean, he really blew it by just basically not following through on logical shit that J.J. Abrams set up. Even though his movie was false and a bait and switch piece of garbage, at least he set something in motion that it could have been expanded on in an intelligent and respectful way. And because of Rian Johnson's lack of vision, he completely shit all over that. I really think that was ego-driven and driven to appease Kathleen Kennedy somehow, who really has no clue what good storytelling is. She's a money person. So anyway, what I'm seeing through this trailer, man, it's just not good. It's more confusion. It's more things like, you know, like in The Force Awakens, we saw the handing off of Anakin and Luke's lightsaber, and then in the movie they go, that's a story for another time. And of course we don't get that story, you know? Instead, we get Luke Skywalker throwing the lightsaber over his shoulder, the lightsaber being destroyed, and no origin of how that even came back into the story. I'm just seeing more elements like that, elements of familiarity, of just the blind leading the blind, of lazy storytelling, rushed storytelling, and that is why these movies suck ass. And apparently, it's going around that, you know, they're so desperate and they don't trust themselves, so they're creating all these different endings that were tested and the fans have completely rejected or did not like, at least. And so they're going back and reshooting a lot of the movie. This is all, you know, this is all based off stuff that I'm collecting, knowledge I'm collecting around the internet from other Star Wars fans that hear things, and it's all word of mouth, so don't take it, you know, with a grain of salt. But it really kind of feels like that when I watch this trailer, that it's a very, there's a lot of moving parts here, and it seems like a very convoluted sort of thing. It's very just really glossy and desperate, you know, callbacks and like cheap trickery, like giving 3PO a red arm. Now they're tweaking his brain and doing some weird shit there to make you go, ooh, like what's C3PO gonna do this movie? Is he gonna die? Is he, you know, is he being altered to serve some other purpose? Yeah, I don't know. They got a whole fleet of Star Destroyers now. Like, it seems like overkill. Rey is incredibly boring to me. Still no interest in her. She's a central protagonist of this fucking film, and I don't give a shit about her. Poe Dameron is somewhat likable, but, you know, he's no Han Solo, man. And they basically castrated him in the last movie. So, hopefully he's at least somewhat dashing in this. Finn, who probably had the most potential out of all the new characters, was tossed aside. Paired up with Rose Tico, who's a terrible character. Let's talk about her real quick. Rose Tico, this has nothing to do with her sex or race or anything like that. Unfortunately, the fans just don't like her. She doesn't resonate with Star Wars fans. Kelly Marie Tran, I'm sure, is a great actress in some other type of movie, but she doesn't really feel like she fits in this universe. The character sucks. She's boring. She does things that don't make sense. She's condescending, and she's just generally unpleasant to look at or to listen to. I mean, if she's going to be one of the good guys, maybe make her likable in some way. She obviously doesn't sell merchandise, and that's why they've eliminated her from a lot of the new merchandise for this movie, because the fans do not like her. It's a hard fact to accept. I'm sure a lot of you want to say it's because of her gender or her race, but sometimes people just don't like certain characters because they're no good. You know what I mean? And it seems like they're going to be sidelining her, giving her a promotion for sure, but sidelining her because they know that people don't really connect with Rose Tico, who doesn't even sound like a Star Wars character. You bet your ass we won't be seeing any Admiral Holdo in this fucking movie. Man, I'm not looking at a thing that gives me any hope that this is going to be any good. And even if it was good, the two other movies were terrible, and so you're just putting a bow on a pile of dog shit, essentially. And as far as I'm concerned, when you're doing Star Wars movies and there's 3 of them, they all gotta hang together. You know, at least they all have, you know, I could take 2 out of 3. I really could. But, 1 out of 3 being passable does not make a Star Wars trilogy. And, ouch. You know what I mean? Like, honestly, I have lost faith in Star Wars, Disney Star Wars, and that Star Wars can be good. It's a difficult franchise to write. It's a difficult franchise to make movies to appease fans. And it just seems like, aside from, like, really obvious, tangible things, like special effects, you know, quality of the picture, everything else has just been really bad decisions by Disney, especially in the way they've handled their relations with fans. And it's just showing. I mean, theme parks are tanking. People are not going to see certain Star Wars movies solo. And, you know, I just don't know what to say. Don't get your hopes up. I saw some lightsaber play that looked really visually interesting, but I don't care about any of it, honestly, because I don't care about Rey and I don't care about Kylo Ren. You know, it's the same questions. That was in the last movie. Who's Rey, and will Kylo Ren turn to the good side? You know? It's the same fucking shit. And I don't really have faith that J.J. Abrams is going to have the balls to do anything bold enough to, you know, make this a memorable movie, because he just seems to be very bland. A very competent visual director. He's a very bland storyteller and tends to, like, rehash shit. And man, my opinion about him changed so drastically when I saw The Force Awakens, because I fucking just can't stand that movie, and I don't like that we were all bamboozled into, you know, believing that this was going to be some third coming of Star Wars, and it was going to be a, you know, a competently handled movie. Yeah, we got tricked, and the movie sucks, and the characters suck, and this movie's going to suck too, man. Why would it be any different? You know, they're desperately wheeling out old characters to try to give a buzz about this movie, to try to fix everything with some all overarching story, and it's just not going to work. It's just going to be a big convoluted mess that everybody's going to be talking about for 2 years in YouTube videos. So, that's my opinion. And I do have some optimism for The Mandalorian, but we'll talk about that in another video. So, guys, as always, until the next video, stay awesome, stay R-rated. Cheers. Later. Hey guys, if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. We've got a lot of great content coming for you this year. We've got reviews for movies, comics, and more. And of course, we will always have fan commentaries for the movies you love. Lots of talk about horror and just mainstream pop culture in general. And probably some Star Wars stuff leading up to Rise of Skywalker. So go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications. And yeah, become a fan of the channel. Let's hear what you want to see. Leave a comment below and just let me know what you think. Alright guys, talk to you later.